You can now officially farm PP in Lazer. This obviously is a significant change, and the transition from stable to Lazer is finally nearing. But how practical is Mania in Lazer at the moment? Is it worth playing, or should you wait until it improves? That's what this video will try to answer. I've tried playing Lazer and will provide feedback to you based on my experience. Opening the game, there's already a massive difference compared to what we see in stable.
Welcome to us. Click the circles. Welcome to us.
It looks clean, and I'm all for it. For a user's first time experience, Lazer offers a very user-friendly way to transition from stable. I was honestly surprised just from this alone. However, the number of maps and skins I had in stable will take forever to import, so leaving the game open for several hours seemed to be my only option to ensure I have all the maps I needed. The UI in the song select looks really cluttered, and it's hard to read what maps are actually there in comparison to stable. Even after changing the scale of the UI, it continues to be hard to read. Scrolling through the songs with arrow keys also mushes the song previews together, playing off a rather disgusting noise. I also encountered an issue where maps of the same map set wouldn't group together. I'm not sure if this is intentional, but it certainly is weird. Honestly, I can see myself getting used to a lot of the UI, so it isn't too big of a problem. The performance is really bad while the imports are happening in the background. So much so, that it's very difficult just to change my keybinds without the game freezing for a solid few seconds. This is honestly excusable though, considering I would rather have all my maps available to me as soon as possible. After selecting a map, the very first thing I realized about the gameplay is that the UI elements are in the wrong place than what you might be used to. The really cool thing about Lazer though, is that they've implemented a skin editor, which allows you to customize a lot of the elements in your skin visually instead of having to scan through a skin.ini file, which I'm sure we're all used to. Even though it's a really cool idea in theory, in practicality it didn't work out how I expected it to. Some of the elements I moved around didn't appear in the same place in-game than where I put them, and my LN tails looked normal in the editor, but when playing, it looked really disgusting and was unplayable. My skin in general did not seem to like Lazer too much, and I noticed plenty of bugs from skin elements alone, like my pie chart freaking out while I'm playing. Plenty of elements from my skin were missing, but I only noticed issues with my skin specifically, so results may vary for you. The BPM lines also can't be removed to my knowledge, and the smallest details like this are a huge drawback for me, as it's very distracting to see while playing. On the topic of distracting, the combo also has this ghosting effect, which, when compared to stable, you can see how this can be an issue. Skinning is, in my opinion, the most important element in Mania. Changing skin can significantly impact the way you play, as well as the scores you set. With that being said, it's not as though it's unplayable, but rather uncomfortable. The gameplay feels almost identical to stable, so there isn't much to comment on besides a few stars here and there. I did also notice that a map's local offset can only go from values 50 to -50, which I found in rare circumstances to not be enough due to mappers putting their maps through software, such as rate changers. In addition to this, I noticed that comboing felt incredibly easy, but I can't really pinpoint why. It might have something to do with this post on the Osu wiki, but I really have no idea why. Personally, I don't think it will take very long for players to transition from stable to Lazer from the gameplay side of things, as it plays almost identically. The biggest change of all is that now scores set on the stable client will all have the classic mod applied to it, giving plays a 0.96 times score multiplier. This was a very controversial decision to make, as all this does is essentially wipe the entire leaderboard on every single map, allowing scores to be beaten with ease. Any perfect 1 million score can now be re-achieved by someone else, causing years of history and hard work gone in an instant. A recalibration of scores, rather than the imposition of a negative multiplier, is not only expected, but strongly hoped for to salvage the integrity of the leaderboard system. Scoring in Lazer acts very similarly to Score v2, where you lose accuracy for hitting perfects, and you only gain combo from the heads and tails of LNs as opposed to a constant combo increase as you're holding it. I'm not for or against the concept of losing accuracy for hitting perfects, but what this does mean is that SSs will now be achieved very rarely. Though this feels more like an overhaul than an upgrade, I think Lazer is in a somewhat playable state, but not quite worth switching to permanently. The UI, graphics, and sound design are all very clean, but that is almost all I would give it at this point in time. I would love to see features such as a map preview, and have no doubt that the issues stated earlier will be fixed in the future. This was just my opinion, so let me know about yours in the comments. Thanks for watching, take care.